Hey, welcome back to Life on the Wrist. Hope you're doing well. So Bell & Ross has released a new watch. It is the BR05. We're going to give you our thoughts about it and show you a bunch of pictures of it. But before we get into that, if you are new to the channel, welcome to Life on the Wrist. We create videos about watches, just about anything that you can think of within the watch collecting universe, watch news. I give you my opinions, watch reviews, all that kind of stuff. So if you are interested in those videos, definitely check them out. Check out our channel. You can see our previously made videos, and if you are interested in this type of content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to be notified when we do upload a video. Our cadence is typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday of every week, so that gives you an idea. If you are an old subscriber, thank you so much for following along, and if you haven't hit that bell icon, be sure to do that. And if you wouldn't mind, if you are new to the channel, the reason why you probably stumbled upon our video is because you hit that someone liked this video and it got into the YouTube algorithm correctly. So if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, it really does help out the channel grow. So back to the topic at hand. Bell & Ross released the BR05. This is known as an urban instrument. That's kind of what they've coined this watch. So they've come out and released a new line of watches from Bell & Ross. Bell & Ross obviously has a very distinct type of aesthetic to the watches that they create, and I think with this release, their whole kind of the big theme is that it's kind of unifying the design, the case, and the bracelet is all kind of one seamless shape. It's got a square shaped case, but it's really cool because the case itself is square, but the actual dial itself is round. It's hugely reminiscent of the 70s, and as you know, I've created a lot of videos about watches from the 70s. This is a memo sale, which is technically from the 70s, so you know I'm a huge fan of them. 70s watches can be hugely divisive. You either love them or hate them, and I think that's going to kind of, probably be a part of people's opinions on the BR05. So it's hugely reminiscent of the 70s. The case measures about 40 millimeters in diameter. It has different areas that are brushed and have brush or high polish finishing to them. It's running on the BR caliber 322 movement, and it has a date function at 3 o'clock. It has a very cool rotor. I'll be sure to make sure I have some pictures of the back of the watch. It's very cool rotor. Obviously it has a see-through case back which exposes that rotor so you can see it. The finishing on the actual movement itself has got this kind of slate gray color to it, which I think is also very cool. There are different variations of this watch. There are some that have black dials, silver dials, blue dials, and then there's one that has a very cool skeleton dial, which I think is only limited to about 500 pieces. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then there's also a rose gold case watch with a black dial, which goes for a little bit more money. But it's cool, the variations that they have. I think they didn't go too wide with all of the variations. They kind of kept it as narrow as they possibly could, with giving people some options that they could choose from. These watches retail from between $5,000 US and $33,000 US. The $33,000 US one being the rose gold case with the black dial, which I think is a very cool combination, especially because black and gold really do mesh well together. I think we should probably stumble upon the very obvious point of this watch. It's extremely like the AP Royal Oak and the Patek Philippe Nautilus. Even if you just look at the bracelet itself, it looks exactly like the Patek Philippe Nautilus bracelet, very seamlessly. There's not many hard edges within the bracelet, but it also seamlessly integrates with the case itself. Like I said previously, it's got very iconic 70s design, and that design being the porthole-esque look to it, like the AP Royal Oak and the Patek Philippe Nautilus. That even has those screws on the outside of around the outside of the I guess the dial, which is kind of creating that porthole look to it. So I don't want to call it a homage, but it definitely looks a lot like it. It took on a lot of stylistic cues from Genta, who kind of brought upon our watch community with this porthole design. And I think it's an interesting take on the design. I think kind of getting into my personal opinions, I think it definitely took on this AP Royal Oak, Patek Philippe Nautilus this design, but I think it did give a little bit of a flair of Bell & Ross with having a very square, angular, a more squared case to it. I think that kind of almost meshes Bell & Ross's identity with the you know, the aesthetics of the, you know, Patek Philippe Nautilus and the AP Royal Oak. So I think it was a cool flair that they brought into this type of design, and obviously it's very, very popular, and a lot of companies are creating watches to resemble that type of design. Just as an example, the Piaget Polo S has a very, very similar design to these watches, so it definitely is very, very, very close to it. For me, I think it's just a little bit too similar, and this is kind of my personal taste. I think it's a cool watch, but I think this is now going towards my taste, or I'm going to give you my opinions on what I think about it personally. I think it's just a little bit too similar, and I think Bell & Ross is really following demand, which from a business perspective, who wouldn't follow demand? You want to make sure that you're producing things that people are going to purchase, and you want to look at what people are already purchasing and create something that is you know, will end up selling with your own flair to it, which I think Bell & Ross kind of unified the two very, very well. I think that can help you run for a specific amount of time, but to give you longevity in a business, you want to make sure that you're doing something unique and different from those who you're competing against. So, you know, that's why companies like Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe have great sellers in the Nautilus and the Royal Oak, is because when they came out with these watches, it was completely different than what was being sold. Back in the you know, the 70s when these were released, you know, people were still wearing, well, first off, they were wearing quartz watches, but they also, you know, very, very classic designs, but quartz was kind of the main driver there. So these were, you know, a very unique type of watch to release. So I think Bell & Ross over the short run is going to do well with this because people like it, or people will love it or hate it, but I think Bell & Ross faithfuls will definitely like this, especially because they probably do like the way in which a, you know, Patek Philippe Nautilus and an AP Royal Oak look, and for $5,000 US, it's extremely affordable compared to the Royal Oak or the Nautilus. So again, I think they're going to do well within their market. I do like how there is a circle within a square. I think it gives a little bit, the Genta design, a little bit of a different flair, which I think is unique from Bell & Ross. But like I said, over the long run, you know, you can follow demand, but you really want to start creating your own type of demand. And I think that's just a testament to what a lot of watch companies are doing right now. They're kind of just following demand as opposed to creating their own. And you know, that's really, you know, my personal thoughts. I do think it's a cool watch. If you are a Bell & Ross faithful and you like collecting watches from them, I think it still has that identity from Bell & Ross with that very square shaped case, but it's bringing in obviously the design elements of the Nautilus and the Royal Oak. So it's a cool watch. I don't think you can hate on a watch just because it's following demand and it's copying or trying to look similar to another watch. I think it is what it is at the end of the day, and for $5,000, it's a pretty well priced watch. I think you could probably find something better for $5,000, or perhaps, you know, I created a video about a collection that you could create for $5,000. So there's a lot of other options that you may have for that money, but it is a release from Bell & Ross, and it's cool to see that people are trying to integrate their identity with what people like. So that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you are new to the channel, we create videos about watches, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this little talk that we gave you about the Bell & Ross BR05. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. I think it's a divisive piece. It's not something that that everyone's going to, you know, love. Like I said, I'm pretty into 70s watches. This is a memo sale from the 70s, so I like 70s watches. I think this kind of brings in those 70s designs for sure. So it's a divisive piece. I think this is going to be a love it or hate it kind of deal, like many watches are. You know, I think the skeleton version is probably my favorite of the releases that they have for this line of watches, one, because it's limited edition, two, because it's skeleton. So there's all those added kind of bonuses that you can have. And yeah, so let me know in the comment section what you think about it. And also let me know, if there are watches that you want me to kind of discuss and give you my 2 cents on. Would love to, get some ideas from you guys and really be delivering, information that you want to hear from me. And with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time.